Say my name. Herman Melville. Sound that name, and it's to be the romance of the sea, the vast, mysterious waters for which 1,000 adjectives can't suffice. Its mystical vibrations, the great oceans holy for the Persians, a deity for the Greeks, forbidden seas, passage to barbarous coasts, a scattering of my words, for the urge to know the sparkling waters and their role of beauty, and, when angry, their powerful, treacherous indifference to the floundering boat and the hapless mariners. Take me back to my beginning.
From the beginning, from my beginning, from my infancy, boats and the sea had drawn me powerfully like portent draughts that led to potent disorder. I was barely 10 years old when from New York I wrote to my father from my ship-shape home on that most wintry afternoon. They took me right out to the end of the jetty that goes the farthest out to sea. There were gigantic waves, higher, faster than mountains. The masts of the ships were lashing the water all around, like whips, like a lash. Oh, to feel that lash. And they were lashing at the water. I knew this way across. I knew this was the way across the whale-wide world. The whale-wide world.
The sea and the whale. The Leviathan, monarch of the deep, preternatural immensity, exorbitant appetite, a barrel of herrings in his belly, hairless blubber, horizontal tail, the lure of the whale himself and his island bulk, one grand hooded phantom like Snow Hill, a snow hill in the air. You take me, Melville, at my word, for I am the historian, the biographer of the whale, the sperm whale, with its precious oils and bones, the shy finback, the hyena whale, the right whale, the killer whale, cetology, a challenge to the mind, to the soul. The whale, fish for me, not a mammal, however warm-blooded, the great one be. And as always, I was unfit. I was unfit.
I wasn't fit for farming. I wasn't fit for banking. I wasn't fit as a schoolmaster in Albany or anywhere else. I'm only fit to go out with frisky serving girls and boys from the neighborhood, marauding in the orchards at the edge of town, the dark edge of town. What's to be done when the spirit of Melville rises up? And the one that tears the deck of cards or petticoats or pants from my grasp and silently spreads the charts of my life across the table. Everything is here, each with its star-shaped windrows. They show the ocean currents like monstrous flowing mains, rolling along boundless reaches, where it would be fine to be a man. I'm unfit for anything. I'm fit only for the sea. To be a man at sea. I'm only fit for the sea. I'm fit only for the sea. I'm fit only for the sea. I'm fit only for the sea.
Call me Ishmael, for I, Melville, am him too, Ishmael, a wild man sired by Abraham and born to the serving maid Hagar, with the wildly connivance of the aged barren Sarah. Ishmael, the narrator of Moby Dick, in the first person. It's the creative intelligence of my novel. I myself, as a sailor in real life, was perforce a wild man wandering the wilderness, the desert of the Atlantic and the Pacific. I chose that name with an erotical amusement as I sat writing at my desk in the Berkshires, amidst fields and trees. As I looked out and imagined the Acushnet.
Inspecting those ships, rubbing their snouts against the trough. Where now is the pig I'm supposed to be fattening? And what about farming, and banking, and teaching, and Benny, and Maria, and Tommy, and the rotten whole of America? The whole of America! Like a worn green rag dangling from the spur of a horseman who's ready to mount. It's at my heels. Do I want a draft horse? Do I want to sow wild seeds for my dreams? Or am I in need of an animal that can play polo with my illusions? Is it the nag or a whale I'm looking for? With legs like mine, it would be a shame to have to saddle a nag just to go for a slow walk from my home, sweet home, to the polo field and back again. I am a man in need of a different excursion. I do have the instinct of a true-bred horseman. I'm not of the ordinary cob. I want to play polo. I'm focused outward, where nothing exists. Up in the skies, out to sea, off into space, in a word, out there where I, for my part, see nothing at all. I'm one of those. I can swear on my mother's grave that I'm not what I am. I play polo and I require the Acushnet, the Acushnet, the Acushnet, the Acushnet. A 350-ton whaler sailing from New Haven, bound for the Pacific. And all I see is water for the long stretch. Acushnet, 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 sailing from New Haven, bound for the Pacific. And stretch, for a long, long stretch, I'm a polo playing man. I'm a polo playing man. I am a polo playing man. I am a polo playing man. A polo playing man.
And I am Ahab. Ahab, one of the kings of Israel, who took wicked Jezebel for his wife, who worshiped the heathen god Baal, and who comes to a bad end. My Ahab lost his leg in a battle with the white whale called Moby Dick. His life, his soul, is overwhelmed by an obsession to search the seas in vengeance for this terrible wounding is. Ahab, who has fallen into idolatry, an unwholesome worship of the claims of private destiny, a blasphemous disregard of nature, the sea, and the creatures within it, an agnostic disowning of his own fellow beings. True will perish with him. But wait, Moby Dick is just a fiction, yes? And Ahab, just a shaggy sea warrior from Nantucket, created out of a broad, devouring conception, yes? Yes, of course, it must be, it must be. But he's also touched by homely sufferings and losses, all to be expressed in the beauty of the rhetoric of extremity. Because this is the world. This is the world the way it is.
Write a mighty book, and I'll have my heroes say, I don't see much, nothing, but water for a long, long stretch. And I'll wonder what I thought of my big idea of seeing the world. Will I have seen it rounding Cape Horn to see nothing of this? The whole world is right where I stand. There isn't any other, yes, world is nothing but what we make of it. And then there's what it gives us back. Friendship and love are feelings without bounds. You can love vast beings like mountains or the seas, with a kind of love you feel for a woman or a man. And you can be loved by these beings in return. This then is our blessing. In the darkest fathoms of confusion and disorder, this certainty remains. Even when it's only certainty we have left, it's enough to make us feel our very own sense of grandeur. No one knows us better than me. In the fullness of time, drawing on memory That ocean stretched to limitless horizons. I'll write a sanctuary book, in which humanity can harbor its despair and its desire to persist in spite of God. To persist in spite of God. In the fullness of time, drawing on memory.
As Ishmael, a young New Yorker, I decided to go to sea on the whale ship, drawn to the great idea of the whale himself, a portentous and mysterious monster which roused all my curiosity, and the greater floodgates of the wonder world swung open, and the wild conceits that swayed me to my purpose. Two and two there floated in my inmost soul, endless processions of the whale, and midmost among them all, one grand phantom, like a snow hill in the air, like some Jacob.
For 15 months since I went to sea, like some Jacob, I've been wrestling with an angel, wrestling with an angel, wrestling with an angel. Like some Jacob, I'm plunged in the darkness, and no dawn comes. Wings unbearably rigid beat me, raise me up above the earth, hurl me back down, snatch me up again, and smother me. My whole life at sea never had a moment's respite from that fight. No matter if I reached my limit, no matter if I was completely worn bare, no matter if I sunk like a stone in my berth, like some Jacob, I wrestled an angel. If I was leaping into the whale boat, if I was riding on the iron quay tempest, if I was staring into the sickening maw of a giant creature from the abyss, all my time, like some Jacob, I was wrestling with an angel. If I was on my watch, if I was trimming the sail, if I was up on the rigging, if I was rendering oil, if I was stoking the fire, if I was standing right inside the charnel house of Leviathan's wedding trail, like some Jacob, I was wrestling with an angel. And when the doldrums weighed like lead over thousands of nautical miles, when all the earthly powers were asleep, when even the captain collapsed with fatigue, I, Herman, wrestled with this dreadful angel, like some Jacob with this angel who, by doing battle, illuminated the impenetrable mystery of the intercourse between the humans and the gods. And it was inside that mystery that my eyes gained sight. And it was inside that mystery that my eyes filled with images. And I was inside that mystery that I became tinged with bitterness and tenderness. And it was inside that mystery that I was stripped to the bone, on the strength of nothing more, and the spirit that emanated from my eyes. I could count myself richer than all the world's emperors and kings. And then and there I made my decision. Now I'll never bow to world again. Now I'll never bow to world again.
Off to the port of New Bedford, where I joined the Pequod, Captain Ahab, and all the others in the maelstrom, the mania, the pitiless search, the calm days, and the menacing energy of the typhoon. And at last, the preferred gladiators, the whale and the captain, in unappeasable fury, which carried the smallest ship of the Pequod out of sight. We all know how this will end, but just the same, we can't look away. Before that, staying at a lodge, the Spouter Inn, the night before we set sail, I bed down with a harpooner named Queequeg, a huge apparition, tattooed from head to foot. There was no hair on his head, none to speak of at least, nothing but a small scalp knot on his forehead. He had bald purplish head, huge bald purplish head, and looked out for all the world like a mildewed skull. Upon waking the next morning, around daylight, I found Queequeg's arm thrown around me, most loving and affectionate manner. You'd almost thought I had been his wife. Thus, then, in our heart's honeymoon, lay I and Queequeg, a cozy, loving pair. Soon, we'd be at sea, capturing a sperm whale, eviscerating it, draining the sperm for commercial use in tubs on deck. Certain lumps were formed, squeezed to unite them with the liquid, and I, Ishmael, I, Melville, found the unique pleasure of my hands in the vat, squeezing the lumps. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. All morning long, I squeezed that sperm until I myself melted into it. I squeezed that sperm until a strange sort of insanity came over me. And I found myself unwittingly squeezing my co-laborer's hands into it. Come, let us squeeze hands all around. Nay, let us all squeeze ourselves into each other. Let us squeeze ourselves universally into the very milk and sperm of kindness. And utter not a word.
Never breathed a word of this to anyone. But plenty of times since I returned from the sea, I've been locked again in tassels with the wing bearer, hunched over my manuscript, alone in my writing room. The angel leaps onto my shoulders, taking me from behind, grabbing hold, twisting my neck most mercilessly. Merciless. No doubt about it. Doesn't care about my weariness, doesn't care about my wants, won't let me live in peace. I'd rather give up big ideas. I'd rather give up grand resolutions. I have no yearnings for self-denial. Some things are too big to be accomplished. I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night. I want to live as others do. I want to live with the complacent selfishness taught to us by our churches and by all the powers to be. I want to travel well-trodden roads, to hold the key to the unbarred doors in everybody else's stairwells and corridors, to everyone else's bedroom, to live with one's wife in one's house, in one's garden, in one's modest job. But there is no modest job. This angel won't let me eat just one beefsteak and potato soup in peace. My job as a poet, since you say that I am one, when all I want to do is fill my pockets. Yes, I do preach to fill my pockets. Everyone preaches to fill their pockets. But this angel gets to me. 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 This angel gets to me. This angel gets to me.
But I get ahead of myself. Because before the ship set sail, our connubial bliss was interrupted by a Sunday morning visit to the whaleman's chapel and to the sermon of Father Maple. It was a most hortatory reflection, and it pondered the practice of sacramental grief for the dead who are claimed by religion to be lifted from the watery grave to an eternity of unspeakable bliss. But faith, like a jackal, feeds among the tombs. And even from these dead doubts, she gathers her most vital hope. Father Maple speaks about a misbegotten Jonah, redeemed and vomited up from the churning stomach of a whale by a forgiving God when he admits his sinful ways. But the grandeur of the eloquence of the old preacher, this Father Maple, comes from the dark knowledge of the debased and the debasing life of the pursuers and killers of the whale. On the way to our ship, Queequeg and I pass a forbidding, chattering old sailor. Goes by the name of Elijah, the biblical scourge of Ahab. And he won't let us be. And he tells us, suggesting bad luck or worse, goodbye to ye. Shan't see ye again very soon, I guess. Unless it's before the grand jury. Under sail for days. Finally, the vainglorious Captain Ahab emerges, a leg lost to the whale, and the crew of the Pequod, Malays, Parsees, Africans, and each in isolato, living on a separate continent of his own. And I, Melville, am them. I am all of them. The officers are white Americans, New Englanders. And of these, the first mate Starbuck standing in line next to Ahab. And I am him too. And Ahab, whose leg the white whale had taken, now stalks the deck on a whalebone leg, emblem of an incapacity not to be born, but violently degrading necessity, and feeling it, he howls. This is hard, which should be soft, and this is soft, which should be hard, crying out in his crippled fury. And this is when mighty Queequeg, seeing his future, orders built a coffin. The white whale has taken the leg as a trophy, that extension of the captain's manhood. And I know deep down a kind of rebellion of the rebel.
It's up to me to devise my own compasses and my own rigging. In this game, you always set out to either win it all or lose everything. my books? I am a rebel. People like to categorize. I am a rebel. I am a poet. But you can really only classify me under one name. I'm no more a writer of the sea than other writers are of the soil. I'm Melville. Herman Melville. The world whose images I put into words. It's a Melvillian world and nothing else. There's a consistency in my work. Titles are nothing but titles. The real titles of each and every book are Melville, 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 Melville. Anyone can be crafty in the polishing trade, and they can live meaningless lives. They can die of boredom. But I am forever afflicted. I am forever uneasy. Forever out of breath, racing and chasing. Always Melville, Melville, Melville. Melville, Melville, Melville. Melville, Melville, Melville. Melville.
But I am forever afflicted. I am forever uneasy, forever out of breath,
Melville.
Racing, chasing, always Melville,
Melville.
Melville, Melville,
Melville.
Melville, 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 Melville.
Melville.
And each night, when every louder wind is to its distant, fathomable cavern, safe, confined, and only gentle zephyr fans her wings, and lonely Philomel, still waking, sings, I dream of her, she who years before, many years before, in an English countryside inn, fanned the owl of me in delight. She who in a strange way directs my wandering right. She forever my revolutionary.
It was in the countryside inn where I met my fair-haired woman, plucking nettles from her pants, cleaning her gun. She never saw me coming. I listened to her revolutionary zeal, her song of liberation. She was always humming. Glory, oh glory to this bold, lean, Fenian woman. It was night when I saw the moon beaming on her strong fern form, on eyes with hope gleaming. It was like I always knew them through all my dreaming. Glory, oh glory to this bold, lean, Fenian woman. She was so very young, marching and drilling. Woke in the hillside, she was awesome, thrilling. So much love for her country, so die willing. Glory, oh glory to this bold, lean, Fenian woman. We both died that night, many of little deaths. Nothing could be stranger. No one could tell us our union, our vaunting, our arching was a failure. We were too gravid in time, outside of all time itself, and danger. Glory, oh glory to this gold-lean Fenian woman. Parting then, I went on my way. But at least we were together. Be life short or long, sure I'll never forget her. We are both brave in our longing, and we'll never have better. Glory, oh glory to that bold-being Fenian woman. To that bold-being Fenian woman. Glory, oh glory to that bold, lean Fenian woman. My revolutionary. That bold, lean Fenian woman. My revolutionary. That bold, lean Fenian woman.
And the sea is awful, challenging, an infinitude, and a soothing, hypnotic balm of a clear day and gentle waves. These are the dichotomies that drove me Melville mad. In my book, I must put everything. The masterless ocean overruns the globe. I note that the sea has not been friendly to humankind. It will insult and murder and pulverize the stateliest, stiffest frigate that can be made. And yet again, consider the most devilish brilliance and beauty of many of most remorseless tribes, as the dainty embellished shape of many species of shark and giant squid, wondrous phenomenon which the secret seas have hitherto revealed to us. Ah, but the sperm whale, the white sperm whale, rare in its milky foam, the gathering upon its hulk of mountainous superstitions, immortality, ubiquity encountered in opposite latitudes, and one at the same time on that hump, I, Melville, as Ahab, piled the sum of all the general rage and hate felt by my whole race from Adam down. And now I, Ahab, baptize this new forged harpoon, and no water for its baptism, no, but blood. Give me blood to cover the barb. And Melville, baptize the barb of my pen too in blood, and the white whale's barbs are tempered. Ergo non baptizio, te e nomine Patris, sed e nomine Diabli, we howl.
The winter of 1851 was snug, tight. Snows heaved in their waves over Massachusetts. I woke with a sea feeling. Frost on the windows left only a small, clear glass in the middle, like a porthole of a ship. I was out in the Atlantic, and and my room felt like a ship's cabin. And at nights like these, when I wake and hear the wind shrieking, I almost fancy there's too much sail on the house. At Arrowhead, I'm up at 8, tramping to the barrel, pouring out bran for the horses, their hot breath warming the rafters. My corn knife slices pumpkins for the cow. She has such South Sea soft eyes. Then breakfast in the kitchen. Then I clip up the stairs to my cold study, there at the desk before the window, looking out over the double ridges of Mount Greylock. I lay the fire, lifting the recalcitrant logs with a harpoon poker. Below me the sounds of the household chores. But here, up here, yes here, dance Tahitian flames. In my fireplace they dance. And those under fires, melting down the blubber, glare and leap, translating hell. And I write steadily, sailing on. And those fires, those other fires, melting down whale blubber, flare and leap, translating hell. And I write steadily, sailing on. And we're all sailing on. Steadily, 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 steadily. We're all sailing on. There she blows, with a hump as white as the hills of snow. And we're all sailing on. Steadily, 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 steadily. And we're all sailing on. There she blows, with a hump as white as hills of snow. With a hump as white as hills of snow. With a hump as white as hills of snow.
At last, the 3-day chase for Moby Dick began. There he is, the glistening whale's shadow from his broad, milky forehead, the blue waters interchangeably flowing into the moving valley of his steady wake. And on the other hand, bright bubbles arose and danced by his side. The boats lowered, the chase, its end foreordained, its moments of glittering horror, as each man, the cast, dies his own death one by one, with one of us thinking of one red cherry and hoping his mother has drawn his pay. Starbuck, the final grasping assertion of a reasonable victim, as if pleading with a murderer with a knife at a victim's throat. Oh, Ahab, it's not too late. It is even now the 3rd day to desist. See, Moby Dick seeketh thee not. It is thou that madly seekest him. And Ahab, that final day, choked to death as the rope grabbed him round the neck. And the final scream, "The ship, great God, where's the ship?" All its crew, and each floating oar, and every lance pole, and spinning, animate and inanimate, all round and round in a vortex, created by the ship's sinking, after the whale's mighty blow to the side, and down in the vortex, which carried the smallest chip, of the Pequod out of sight. And the great shroud of the sea rolled on as it rolled and has rolled and rolled 5,000 years.
And I only have escaped alone to tell thee. The drama's done. Why then here does anyone step forth? Because one did survive the wreck. If so chanced that after the Parsee's disappearance, I, Herman Melville, was he whom the fates ordained to take the place of Ahab's bowsman with his harpoon penmanship. When that bowsman assumed the vacant post, the same who, when on the last day, the 3 men were tossed from out of the rocky boat, was dropped astern. So floating on the marginalia of the ensuing scene, the very page, in full sight of it, when the half-spent suction of the sunk ship and its great idea reached me, I was then but slowly drawn towards the closing vortex of my novel's completion. When I reached it, it had subsided into a creamy pool. Round and round then, and ever contracting towards the button-like black bubble at the axis of that slowly wheeling circle. Like another Ixion did I revolve, till gaining that vital center, that black bubble upward burst, and now, liberated by reason of its cunning spring, and owing to the great buoyancy of the prose, rising with great force, the coffin, light buoy, shot up lengthwise from the sea, fell over and floated by my side. Buoyed up by that coffin for almost 1 whole day and night, I floated on the soft and dirge-like main. The unharming sharks, they glided by as if with paddocks on their mouths. The savage seahawks sailed with sheathed beaks. On the second day, a sail drew near, like a page of wondrous vellum to write upon, nearer and nearer, and picked me up at last. It was the devious, cruising Rachel that in her retracing search for her own missing children only found another orphan. I, Herman Melville, another orphan to write upon the page. Another orphan to write upon the page. Finis. 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 Finis.